Welcome back, everybody. I hope you all have been getting some good time in out on the range. So in today's market, it seems to be that we have almost endless options when it comes to optics. Everything from miniature pistol red dot mounted optics to LPVOs to red dots. But with that, you get a lot of different brands. So today we're going to be talking about one of those brands, Vortex, in the way of the Sparc Solar. This is the latest generation of this one, the Sparc 2 Solar, which gives you not only the battery powered option, but you can see right up here on top that solar panel, so this thing will automatically switch back and forth to give you the longest battery life possible. Now this one I have mounted up on my Blackout Defense Quantum Mark II rifle. If you haven't seen the video on this, I will leave it linked down below. Loving the way that this thing turned out. So we're gonna talk about the specs on all this thing, get into all that stuff, kind of show you guys how this is a little bit different than the previous generations. But first, let's check out a little bit of that range footage. I'm just loving the way that rifle turned out, and that optic is definitely doing good on top of it. And we're gonna get into the Sparc AR Solar right now. All right, let's get into the specs on the Sparc AR Solar right here. So this is the new version. I just wanted to give you guys a really good look at kind of the profile of this, how it sits on the rifle itself. You can see it's on that Blackout Defense build that I just did a video on. I'll leave that link down below. Just give you an idea and then really quickly talk about mounting, because I still get a lot of questions on that. For me, other people do other things. I mount my red dots as absolutely as far forward as possible without getting on to the rail. So there are rails out there that'll pretty much never give way. This one is kind of like that, but I always just mount them like that. So I'm actually gonna take this thing off, sacrifice a little bit of zero, so we can give you a really good look at how this thing is, what the options are and all that. I'll reconfirm zero later, but you guys are worth a couple of extra rounds out on the range. So give me a second, take this off so we can talk about it. All right, now that I got the Sparc AR Solar off, let's go through the basic specs on these and then we'll talk about the good stuff that's going on here. So this one is the new solar variation. So you can see they've kind of got their Vortex logo over that solar panel. It's actually very, very cool looking. Possibility of 150,000 hours of battery life. That's all going to depend on the settings. We all know that's going to be at the lowest or probably the night vision setting. So this does have 2 night vision, 10 daytime illuminations with a 2 MOA dot. It's great. It is very, very bright on that high setting. So you do not need to be there unless you're in some just blazing bright stuff out there. Also, it's going to come with, let's talk about that. You're going to get a low mount, a high mount. This is the lower 1/3. Not a bad mount. We'll talk more about my kind of preferences on the mount. The 2032 battery, you'll get like a lens cloth. You're going to get a little Torx wrench for these. And you're going to get your basic manual. And then you're going to get these tethered lens covers right here. They kind of, it goes around the battery tray and then it clips on. I'm not using them, and we'll talk more about that in a reason. So getting into the rest of the optic, this is a red dot, so you can see down in there. I've got it down pretty low, turn it up. So you can see, obviously, it's a red dot, and the dot is much bigger on camera than it is normally. Talking about the rest of this thing, like I said, it is a 1 MOA of adjustment. You're gonna have your windage and elevation adjustments right there. They are nicely marked, and it does have a tactile response to them. You have the O-ring sealed battery tray, which is right here, so you're not gonna have to worry about the water getting in there. And it's got a lifetime warranty. So if you beat this thing up too bad, you send it in, you get a free one. You've got a 100 MOA of total adjustment in here, parallax free, 2.6 inches, 5.9 ounces. And of course you can see you've got that fully multi-coated lens right there. There's a lot of reasons for those coatings. There's anti-fog, there's anti-glare. It's to also help the red dot actually be visible on the glass in there. So there's a lot of stuff that goes in to those different coating technologies. Now, talking about the front of the lens, I've seen people reviews on these, and I've seen, or not reviews, but like online reviews, and I'm kind of trying to get, you can see how the gap on that side is much bigger than the gap on the bottom. So the glass is in there at an angle. That's on purpose. So if you look at that and you're like, oh, there's no quality control, the glasses in there are crooked, it's like that for a reason. So if you look right there in the corner, and I know it's really tough to see, I'm trying to get you the best thing I can, right there in the corner, you can just barely make out where the emitter is, right? Okay, that's what, that little edge right here, that's what's shining that red dot. So the glass has to be at a specific angle in there to actually make it work right. I kept seeing people, even reviews like on Amazon and other places, saying, oh, there's something wrong with the glass. No, it's made like that. So if you get it and that seems weird to you, it's there for a reason. Look at your other options and it'll make a lot more sense to you. So now that we know all of the specs on here, I'm sure there's like little tiny other minute specs. Everything is listed online for you. Let's talk about the price, the durability, the quality. Is there anything I would change on this optic? Is it good for the money, and all that stuff that we want to know? All right, so now you know what that optic is all about. Let's talk about the good, the bad, if there is any bad, and if there is anything I would change. So this thing, I checked it out today, coming in on that price point right around $279, which is very nice for an optic that has proven to be as durable as the Vortex stuff. It's got that nice small profile, comes with your lower 1/3, a standard co-witness, and also has that solar and battery power on it, with a battery now that most of us are gonna have laying around due to all the optics going to that style. So the biggest positives on this specific optic, besides the price of it, is gonna be the durability, the quality, and that lifetime warranty. So if you mess this thing up, bang it up, break it, it's a no BS warranty from Vortex. You send that thing in, you get your little RMA number, and they are going to get you a new one, or the newest one if they're not offering the one that you have traded in, which is pretty solid, and that's pretty solid for the price point of $279. Now, are there any negatives? Yes, there are, but I had to dig for it. What's this? These little things right here. They get in the way. You really just can't use them while they're on there, and I'd rather have just not gotten them, or just gotten like flip up caps or something. I know it's kind of nice to have something to cover your optic if it's going to be stored for a long time, but those things just really kind of suck, Vortex. You should have just left those out, or given us old school flip caps on this thing, because I tried to use those and they just constantly got in the way of the lenses, so I couldn't see through the optic. Now, is there anything I would change on this specific optic? The one thing I would change is I would like to see optic companies come with an option to buy the optic without a mount. A lot of times the mounts that come with these optics just are not the best. They will do, but they're either just not the design you want, or maybe they're a little heavier than what you can get, or maybe they're just not as strong as some of the other stuff out there. For something like this, they really do go nicely with ScalarWorks mounts. And I know the ScalarWorks mounts are like 150 bucks, and this optic's like $279. And some people would say, well, why would you buy an optic, you know, and then put something that's that expensive for a mount? Well, because it's mine and I can buy and do whatever I want to it. And I really want an easy mount that is quick detach and that has a really good reputation, and that I know is going to take the beating that this optic can. I've seen some videos already from, like, say, Aaron Count at Sage Dynamics, where he battered this thing, the optic was fine, but the mount gave way, and there are just better mounts out there. So giving me the option to buy the same optic at a discounted rate and then getting my own mount would just be, I think, an option a lot of us out there would take advantage of, because a lot of us end up changing those. It seems to be that them and other companies have been able to keep the budget aspect, but get rid of what's a lot of times associated with budget optics, which is fragile, doesn't work, bad glass, bad battery life. A lot of those things that over the past 10 years have gone kind of by the wayside, with at least a few brands that are in that more budget-friendly market. And another one that's going to be in that category that I have a review coming on soon is going to be the Holosun. That is the 503 in the green. Loving that thing on the Striborg SPA3, which are SP9A3. I always say that wrong, but that thing is just an absolute ton of fun. And we'll have that review coming very soon. All that stuff does really help the channel. Those are affiliate links. And of course, a huge thank you to all of my Patreons. You guys made this specific video possible, because this optic was purchased with Patreon funds. So thank you very much, and stand by for a cool trigger giveaway coming up very soon for you guys. Now, you guys get out there and have some fun on the range. Remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And I will see you guys on the next one.